Open now for anyone to speak, and I believe Mr. Faruqi had signed in for this item.
Yeah, just trying to figure out, I noticed this session was called, and I'm questioning what is the procedure for why these special sessions get called?
Anything that has a more urgent matter can happen before the next meeting. We don't meet again until the first Monday in June to approve something. So if this item actually was on a previous agenda, mix up on the unit number. So in order to help this business owner continue their process to get open, I made the decision to allow it on this agenda.
Okay, so it wasn't this is the main issue, it was...
It could be any item, and we could call a meeting as long as we give proper notice in the newspaper any day of the week for any item, and it's up to me of what can come on that agenda.
Okay, and who brought up this item as a special session?
I believe probably Lori just said since we had to remove it from the previous one, she requested that it be brought up.
Okay.
Since all requirements had been met, we want to try to help that business owner continue the process and not slow them down.
Okay, and then the special session process for the Greenpoint, who brought that issue up?
Same type deal and we'll talk about that in a minute, but as there's items that come through the process to come on an agenda, sometimes the city attorney or others might request, like if there's an emergency, there's an HVAC on here that went out, it's getting hot. We have those often during this time of year. We might need to do something a little quicker than the typical 2-week process. So It can come from any director, could come from the mayor, anybody really, another council member, all kind of different ways.
So for the Greenpoint, who brought that up? Because I know the lawyer brought it up.
It's been worked on for a while. I think we were trying to get to a point where it was ready to be put on an agenda.
Okay, so the we portion of this is you and the city council with the mayor, and the lawyer brought this into the...
No, someone would bring it to our attention that it needed to come on an agenda, and then I make the decision whether or not we're going to have a special called meeting to address it or
so
not.
You made that decision based on somebody approaching you that needed to go on.
Yeah, that there's something.
Who is that?
In that case, that was probably Herman.
I asked for that.
Yeah.
Remember, yeah, it's fine. We discussed it at the last meeting. That's what we did, and then we said it would be on today's agenda. So that's how it happened.
Okay, so the process is it has to be brought up during a normal session.
No, it does not.
Okay, so why did it?
Because I wanted the public to know about it and the terms before we formally met on it. That's why.
We could have just added it to the agenda on Monday to vote on, but since it's a agreement in the nature that it is, I think wisely Herman felt like we needed to present it at that meeting and then have it on the special call this week. So that's why.
Okay, it just seems like there's a lack of transparency.
There's no lack of transparency
at all.
Okay, you all are in agreement that there's
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, it's the first time I'd heard of this special session, so I was curious about that.
Actually,
We've had many of them.
I think
We announced it at the meeting Tuesday while you were here.
Yeah.
We did, okay.
No, it was actually announced before that because it was in the paper.
Yeah,
I think,
that's
so. Okay. And then the mayor, you've talked about the speed of right. How long has this been in the cahoots to get this before you all?
we actually are going to discuss that item next. We're probably not going to have comment on it because it's likely coming off the agenda. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Which is
so this particular item is about this license.
Well, I was concerned about the process. First time I've been to a special session.
Sure. If you have questions about this, we're in a public hearing on this item right now. So if you have other questions on the liquor license, feel free to ask those. But if not, we need to move on.
Okay. Well, then we talked about the speed of right, Mayor, in your earlier comment. When are we going to have a resolution to demand the chief's plan?
Okay, we gotta move on. This is about this item. All right, thank you. No, sir. Thank you. Anyone else here to speak on this particular item? All right, seeing no one else here to speak, we'll consider this public hearing closed. We have a motion by Mr. McMaster, second by Mr. Pike. Any discussion? Roll call. Aye. Resolution 24080 is approved 3-0. Herman, do you want to address the next
Yeah,
two?
basically, when you have as many different variables as we have, and different properties and all that, so what we find ourselves in, we need to ask that this be removed so we can look at some of the other details, and then we'll bring it back. And make y'all aware of it, the general public aware of when we'll have that. Right now, we are asking that both Resolution A and B related to Bingham Edwards lease and the sublease with Greenpoint be removed at this time, so we can look at some other options or some additional details.
Okay.
Just real quick, it's a major development that will benefit our city for years. It's also a complicated deal with a number of involved parties. We have a few final details to work out, but we're all working towards finalizing the project, again, at the speed of right.
All right, thanks, Mayor. We'll move on to C, Resolution 24093, approved new HVAC unit for traffic signs and maintenance. No, sir.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. McMaster, second by Mr. Pike.
We got a HVAC system in our traffic signs and markings building that has been repaired on for a while and has gone out, so we need to get it replaced.
All right, any questions? All right, we do have a motion and a second. Roll call. Aye.
Aye.
Resolution 24093 is approved 3-0. Next is Resolution 24094, approve and authorize mayor to sign agreement with Invoice Cloud as the credit card service with City View software.
Yes, I asked for this to be added in conjunction with as it's the credit card service, in order for that process to get streamlined and make sure that everything's in a row for whenever we hopefully go live in September with CP.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Pike.
Second.
Second by Mr. McMasters. Mr. Faruqi.
What does City View actually do?
It is the new software that our revenue department and building department will be using, as well as there's another component that I believe our community development department will be using. And then the Invoice Cloud, as I said, is the credit card service processing group that is in conjunction with City View in order for revenue and building department to accept credit cards online and in office.
So people can pay business license.
Business license, building permit, sales tax.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the building department will be issuing building permits.
So it's only for those departments?
Yes.
Okay.
It's for the departments and for our customers, those that are,
But
I mean, it's
Yeah.
being used in those departments for the customers that are coming to pay or need to pay online.
Or submit permits, or submit site plan and all of that. It's versatile, streamline everything into one database instead of everybody emailing everything to everyone else.
it's better customer service.
Yeah.
A lot better.
Well, when you go to the website, they say they charge a 3% charge on all credit card. How are we doing business now?
Same.
So it's still 3%?
Correct.
Okay.
It's convenience you pay for.
Does not
Very comparable to a lot of other government agencies, utilities.
Well, that's what I was concerned. It said utilities. So Decatur Utilities uses?
That's not being discussed here.
Okay. I was just concerned about that being a cost.
I think we've talked about, they have their own board and management team. They're under the city, but they operate on their own, so, yeah.
Well, then maybe, because right now when I pay my utility bill, I don't get charged 3%.
They took that away during COVID, I believe. There used to be a 3% charge.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we ought to see who they're doing business with and then maybe save us 3%.
They're eating that cost. All right, we do have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call. Aye.
Aye.
Resolution 24094 is approved 3-0. Next council work session will be held on June 3rd, 2024 at 5 p.m. And the next regular council meeting will be held on June 3rd, 2024 at 6 p.m. Anything else? All right, we'll stand adjourned. Thanks.
All right,